the problems from the pills I took to solve them. So I've been watching reruns late at night, just to fall asleep to a better life. Had no way to know when we were young that back then was the best that it would give for us. So I've been watching reruns just to see the world like it was when I used to dream. Now there's just a voice telling me I'm lost. It only comes from me when the TV's off. So I've been watching reruns.
The small, fully operational data center will piggyback on Intuitive's machine's upcoming lunar lander mission. It will be the first physical data center flown off the planet, serving a host of data storage and edge processing customers, each in their own way, expanding the art possible. The Lone Star's lunar data will not run for applications that require immediate access to data. Instead, it prioritizes the secure and long-term preservation of crucial information. Lone Star has already secured early customers. Lone Star has secured several high-profile customers for their lunar data center named Freedom. These customers include State of Florida, the Isle of Man government, AI firm Valkyrie, and pop rock band Imagine Dragons. Reportedly, the Freedom data center will be powered by solar energy and utilize naturally cooled solid-state drives, making it environmentally sustainable. The Lunar Data Center will have a ground-based backup at Flex Intellia's Tampa, Florida facility. That's kind of hard to pronounce. Lone Star believes that storing critical data on the moon offers several key advantages. Firstly, it develops unparalleled security against natural disasters, cyber attacks, and even for the potential of geopolitical instability on the Earth. Second, it reduces the environmental impact of large-scale data centers, which consume vast amounts of energy. I wonder if other species or other civilizations have put data centers on the moon to serve as an archive. I wonder. And I say that because I think that that's happened. And I've thought about that a lot. That's a common thing in sci-fi. Having these like ancient data centers on the moon that you... I mean, it was part of Alien, basically, too. The first movie. They go to the moon and find all the ancient architecture. All you need is the data. So, the company, in collaboration with Space Florida Intuitive Machines, successfully conducted the first full data storage test for the moon's surface in February 2024. 2021, they successfully tested their data center in a microgravity aboard the International Space Station, and they have a video here. It could also help Artemis missions, which, if they don't get canceled, or China doesn't have something way better, we can do all of this planning, and then China's like, oh, by the way, we have something crazy. But we'll see. It could also help the Artemis mission. Building and maintaining a data center on the moon presents major engineering challenges. Moreover, it involves the high cost of space travel, the harsh lunar environment, and the difficulty of repairs and upgrades. However, the potential rewards are many, particularly in protecting valuable data for generations. In an older press release, Lone Star found Chris Scott, "Data is the greatest currency created by the human race. We are dependent upon it for nearly everything we do, and it is too important to us as a species to store in Earth's ever more fragile biosphere. Earth's largest satellite, our moon, represents ideal place to store our future." Data is the greatest currency created by human race. Can you pay rent with data? Can you pay healthcare with data? Well, I mean, they'll steal our data and other people can, but we can't pay our stuff with our own data. But if some like a venture capitalist saying data is the greatest currency created by the human race is epic irony. I mean, this guy can't see his head from his you-know-what. Earlier, Interesting Engineering reported that Lone Star's mission to store data off-world draws parallels to the Svalbard Global Seed Vault. The vault safeguards crop diversity by storing seeds in remote Arctic location. Likewise, Lone Star aims to protect crucial human knowledge for generations of the moon. The establishment of this lunar data center could also benefit NASA's Artemis program. It could help store and process the vast amounts of scientific data generated by Artemis missions. As per Reuters, several companies are actively pursuing the development of space-based data centers. For instance, Lumen Orbit secured $11 million at a $40 million valuation, indicating investor confidence in space-based center market. So that's pretty interesting. I disagree with him saying that it's like the Global Seed Vault. I mean, it kind of is, but the Global Seed Vault was not made by venture capitalists trying to get rich. I'm pretty sure that was state paid for, like governments paid for that. That's taxpayer funded, pretty sure, basically. But so we have a little bit of good news. Whether or not you believe it is another question. But critical ocean current has not declined in the last 60 years, AMOC study finds. Earth being 71% water is influenced by the ocean and its movements. In the Atlantic Ocean, a system of connected currents called the Atlantic Meridional Overturning Circulation, AMOC. Anybody who's seen The Day After Tomorrow, you recognize that one. And we've been talking about that for at least 6 months. Moves water through the world's ocean, powered by a combination of winds and ocean density. It not only distributes the ocean's heat, moisture, and nutrients, but regulates the Earth's climate and weather. As the climate is continuously changing, the atmosphere is warming. Many scientists fear that fresh water from melting polar ice sheets could significantly disrupt or collapse the AMOC. While a decline of AMOC would have grave consequences, a collapse would be truly catastrophic. However, studies from the AMOC's long-term future are uncertain. Instead of predicting the future, a team of scientists from Woods Hole Oceanographic Institute, WHOI, quantified the past to help inform where we could be going. In a new paper published in Nature Communications, scientists found that AMOC has not declined in the past 60 years. Authors Nicholas P. Foucault, adjunct scientist in physical oceanography at WHOI and assistant professor at University of Georgia, Jens Terhaar, affiliated scientist at WHOI and senior scientist at University of Bern, Linus Vock, visiting student. This is a lot of people. When he started to work on his study and now scientist at Lausanne Sorbonne Université, say their university results mean that the AMOC is currently more stable than expected. Our paper says the Atlantic overturning has not declined yet. That doesn't say anything about its future, but it doesn't appear the anticipated changes have occurred yet. Their findings contrast with previous work, as I've been reading, notably a paper from 2018 cited in their study, which reported that the AMOC has declined over the past 70 years. The work relied on sea surface temperature measurements to decline how the AMOC has changed. We've learned the sea surface temperature doesn't work as well as initially thought, said Terhaar, who began leading the study at WHOI, postdoctoral scientist, and completed the work in Bern. To address the uncertainty, Terhaar and the team relied on new data from the Coupled Intercomparison Project, CIMP, Climate Earth models produced by a climate research program. They used 24 different CMIP models, found that the most recently available surface temperature data did not accurately reconstruct the AMOC. Going further, the researchers looked at a different measure, air-sea heat fluxes, which is in the exchange of heat from the ocean to the atmosphere. When the AMOC is stronger, more heat is released from the ocean than to the atmosphere over the North Atlantic. And there's a little picture here. The authors derived the AMOC proxy with the CMIP models, then applied it to observational data. The best data for the surface heat fluxes over the North Atlantic come from reanalysis products that incorporate direct observations into the model, similarly to the way the weather forecasts work. The study authors focused on reanalysis of data sets that extend back to the late 50s to reconstruct the AMOC. Based on the results, AMOC is more stable than we thought. This might mean AMOC isn't as close to the tipping point as previously suggested. The paper states that the air-sea flux anomalies in the North Atlantic were tightly linked to the AMOC, and decadal average of AMOC has not weakened from 1963 to 2017. Since there are many processes that lead to large year-to-year variability in the AMOC, the air-sea heat flux and the AMOC are correlated strongest in those timescales, as opposed to annual averages. It's almost unanimous at this point that the Atlantic overturning will slow in the future. So they're not saying that the future collapse has been halted, but whether or not it will collapse is still up for debate. So I guess they're saying it's going to slow, but whether or not it fully collapses is up to debate. This work indicates that there's still time to act before we reach this tipping point. As well, with all proxy-based reconstructions, there are limitations and caveats. The author pointed out that the direct measurement of air-sea heat flux going back in time are sparse, and thus the reanalysis products contain significant uncertainty. Despite these limitations, a decline over the last 60 years seems very unlikely. That's good news. I'm glad that they found that. My concern, I'll just briefly say my concern. My concern is we don't even know how to measure this stuff. They're still debating on how to even measure it. That's what this whole thing was like, hey, we found a new way to put this data together to reanalyze this stuff, and this just so happens to come out and say that we're not totally screwed. So, I mean, that's good news, but we don't know how to measure this stuff. It could happen tomorrow. We really don't know. And we're not doing anything to stop it. That's the biggest thing. Is not that it could just happen any moment. I'm not trying to freak people out, but let's actually do something about it. That's my biggest thing about this is let's do something about it. If they're saying we have more room to act than we thought, then amazing, fantastic. That's even more reason to do it. Do you know why? And I'm not even joking about this. This pisses me off so much, even just thinking about it. The GOP and the Republicans and Trump administration said we don't need to do any climate action because everything's so bad that the damage has already been done. And there's no point of doing anything because the most nihilistic, cynical bullshit. And here we are, we have scientists saying that we can actually do something, and we're still not going to do it because they say that it's already done. We already have the coffins. We're already screwed. That's what the Republicans and the GOP said. We're already screwed, so it doesn't matter. We might as well party it up. Drill, baby, drill. That's right. Don't matter if it caused earthquakes, destroy animals, don't know about no ocean. They don't know about any of this stuff. Well, they do know about it. They chose not to do it. It's a business decision for them because they've known since the 70s, even going back to the 50s, that climate change is real. And we have the documents to prove it, that they knew. And they've chosen not to do it for money. They've destroyed the earth for money. They've killed all of the generations of the future. We're in the Anthropocene. We're having all these animals go extinct all at once. We've named the extinction event after ourselves, even though it's only 1% of us that are doing it. It's the 1%, the billionaires, that are destroying the planet. The 99% majority of humans, we care about the earth. We don't want the earth to die, but the 1%, they're the ones that are destroying this stuff. And they're the ones that are preventing us from doing anything about the AMOC. So, this story, as you can tell, really upsets me. And we should be really focusing on the ocean. And, all these, think of the children. Think of the children and the animals. We shouldn't have to go there. But we should care more about ourselves. But if we have to go to the children, just think of the children. Can we do something to fix something for somebody? Okay. January 27th. So last year we had talked about the uh, the pole, the magnetic pole moving, and like that. Hopefully, the world wasn't going to end. That's what we had said. And sure enough, the pole has moved, and the world has not ended. So I have a little article here. Doesn't look like it's too long. I might as well just read the whole thing here. The magnetic North Pole has shifted over 400 kilometers from Canada towards Russia in the past century due to the changes in the Earth's molten core. Scientists use the World Magnetic Model to monitor this movement, which affects navigational systems and protects against solar radiation. The magnetic North Pole, which the Earth's magnetic field converges and continues to change according to the planet's changes in its molten core. In 1831, a pole was identified in Canada. However, they drifted continuously 400 kilometers over 100 years. I just read that. To monitor the direction, the movement is recorded with the help of the World Magnetic Tool. I just read that. In recent times, the drift has increased in rate, although the latter is quite unsteady. Understanding how it drifts is important not only for navigation systems, but also to understand Earth's magnetic field, which remains one of the major shields against solar radiation. Why is the magnetic North Pole moving? This has made scientists reason that it might be activity going on in the Earth's core driving the magnetic pole to change place. According to the study, the iron and other molten metals moving around inside the Earth's core develop the planet's magnetic field, and the changes come out in the changing liquid iron as it flows into the outer shell of the planet, resulting in a magnetic pole shifting due to the field having to change course with every adjustment. What is the magnetic North Pole? It is the north part of the Earth's surface where the magnetic lines converge vertically. The geographic North Pole is the northmost point on the Earth, but it is not so with the magnetic North Pole. Instead, it drifts with time. This drifting occurs to changes in the Earth's magnetic field as it affects from the molten core. How do scientists keep a record of movement? Scientists have traced the movement of Earth's magnetic pole by means of a model called the World's Magnetic Pole. Let me see if I haven't read something here. This is literally just repeating the same stuff over and over. The movement of the magnetic pole is significant because it affects GPS, solar radiation. At the end of 2030, they will reassess the model and come up with latest information. Okay, well, this didn't have a whole lot of information, but it was like pretty basic. But we'll keep on watching that. I suspect that the pole will continue to move little by little. But last year I did read the article and it said that it wasn't going to destroy the world, and it seems like it hasn't. So I would call that a good thing. So I guess we'll just call it at that. It was a pretty long episode, longer than I had meant. My voice is starting to go a little bit, so we finished it just in time. But I will say that we got demonetized, so I'm just gonna go ham. I'm just gonna put it all out there, and season 2, we're just gonna go crazy, and I'll try to put a. I'm planning on doing a season finale, and also I'm gonna upload something on the Patreon about the Beast of Bordar Road, or I can't remember the name of the Irish Black Panther, or I don't even know if it's Irish, Scottish, the UK, wherever it is in the UK, the Black Panther feline, and as well as like hybrids in the CIA, and we'll talk about that on the main channel too. But I'm gonna put the Beast of Broya whatever road on the Patreon. I had that requested a long time ago by one of the viewers, one of the first fans of the show a long time ago, and she had requested that, and I went into it to go and do the episode, and found out that it's way bigger, way bigger. And then a article came out recently, totally separate, that had nothing to do with it, but it actually had something to do with it. So I'll link those two things together, and that'll be for the Patreon people. And I hope they enjoy that. Thank you to everybody who's been supportive over the years, and I can't wait for season 2. Hopefully we can all be here, be safe. But I am way behind enemy lines so far, and they can come and, break down the door and kill me at any moment. I had read that, not that I'm doing anything wrong, but it's like literally we're entering a territory where if you disagree with the government, then bad things will happen. And some legislation came through that I had seen that was like saying anything against Nazis was illegal. So if that's the case, if disagreeing with Nazis is illegal, then like I'm gonna be screwed because I don't agree with Nazis. And so yeah, I'll just leave it at that. Hopefully everybody's safe, and all that we can talk about is love and peace. That's what we believe in. That's what we're going to continue to talk about. I'll also just say this before I go, that we're kind of entering a new labor rights movement, a new civil rights movement. Trump is attacking labor rights, and because of that, all the workers are having to organize. And Trump is attacking minorities, so all the civil rights people are having to organize. So here we are. We're in the 60s, and we're in the 20s and the 30s. A lot of people are saying, celebrating that it's like 1928, but they don't realize what happened in 1929, the Great Depression, and then what happened after that, the Holocaust. So I hope none of that happens. I hope none of it happens. But we are so razor close to all of that happening. So I'm telling all of you guys that we need everybody's help, left and right. A lot of the people voted right wing, thinking that they're that the GOP is the class of the working man, that it's the common man, the poor people, because that's what they told everybody. And I grew up hearing that and thinking that. But the truth of the matter is now that we have Trump and the biggest cabinet of billionaire, a record-breaking amount of billionaires in the administrative cabinet. That's a fact. And multiple of them have been, allegedly have had multiple sexual assault type of instances. So that's pretty severe. And to surround yourself with these people who are kind of all of the same caliber, I think speaks to who Trump is, of surrounding yourself with these violent, thug, social or sexual assaulters. I don't know. I'm gonna get myself in trouble. But these are all just facts. These are just observations. These are things they've done, and they should be held accountable to it. And they're about to come down on the whole United States. I talked about them making a crypto and then crashing the dollar. And here we are. They've made the crypto, and the dollar is looking rickety. In multiple ways. We have a strong dollar, don't get me wrong. Like, the dollar is strong right now, but it's also rickety. For anybody who can actually see off the edge of the deck, off the edge of the ship, there's choppy waters out there, and there's an iceberg ahead. We're headed straight into the iceberg. And as far as Elon and Trump, they've talked about destroying the economy and then reforming it. and it's going to be the billionaire agenda, and that's the labor rights part that I'm talking about right now. They're trying to strip us of all of our labor rights, all of the progress that we've done in the past 100 years. They're trying to undo that, and I personally feel like they're trying to make people go bonkers and go into the streets and, I don't know what. I feel like he's trying to make people go into the streets and be violent. And that's not what we need to do. That is not what we need to do at all. We need civil, peaceful resistance, because as soon as we start acting nuts, he's going to have all the excuse. Last time, he tried to microwave people multiple times. He tried to microwave people on the border, and he tried to microwave people on Lafayette Square. He tried to machine gun and microwave the people on Lafayette Square, and then he went out there and did a photo op and held the Bible upside down after he tried to machine gun those people. And the National Guard told him no. And the National Guard are the ones that warned us about that. So what I'm saying is that we need peaceful civil resistance, like the civil rights movements, like the 60s, because otherwise we will justify him bringing out all sorts of technologies on us. And whenever they videotape and photograph people sitting or standing or whatever, asking for dignity, to not be killed or whatever, to not be have terrible things done to them, and the police come and beat them up, or the military comes and beat them up, or whatever, it makes it so clear who the perpetrator is, who the bad guy is. And it's the state, it's the government, it's the rich people, the billionaires, the 1%, the 1% who are paying these police to come and attack people. It's unacceptable. And whenever you see, like the civil rights movement, you see people sitting on the ground getting eaten alive by dogs because they have the audacity to ask for the right to drink at a water fountain. And that's the type of stuff that we're going to go into again, unfortunately. However, there's, always a yin and a yang. And we've talked about this a lot of different times on the show, that as things start to get rough, more people will start to awaken. So you guys are kind of ahead of everybody else, so you're kind of going to be the leaders because you have more information than everybody else. So I just wanted you guys to think about that. And I hope you're building skills and going out there and meeting people, and not just curling up and hiding away. This is not the time to curl up and hide away. Although things may be dangerous, possibly, or, like Trump could try to hurt people or whatever, they want us to try to stay away and just hide away and just, it's like the famous clip of the news guy yelling, just leave us alone in our living rooms. Just let us have our living rooms. Just let us stay with our comfortable microwave meals and our TVs. Just let us have it, anything but that. And no, like, they will come for that. They will come for it, all of it. They will take everything. They're destroying the whole world. So we all have to get out there and get to know one another. And it's going to be harder for them to come and beat up anybody or target one person in particular if we all work together and all collectivize and organize. So I'll get off my soapbox, but I really do hope that you guys go out and meet some people, and go to some of these deportation protests, the civil sort of demonstrations. It's our right as citizens to protest in a legal way, and a lot of these places are getting permits, and you don't have to get a permit to have a protest. You do not have to get a permit. You can be on the side of the sidewalk with a as long as you're like following all the laws. So just be safe out there and follow the laws, and hopefully we'll have more episodes. And I'll try to do the finale soon and the Patreon episode. So looking forward to season 2 and some more stuff to come out there. Good luck, everybody. Peace out.
It's been a long time and I miss this feeling. It feels like freedom, it feels like healing. Floating off the floor, past the ceiling. The wind in my hair, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel as I'm taking flight. Man, I'm feeling like myself again. Hey, man, I'm feeling like myself again. It's been a long time and I miss this feeling. It feels like freedom, it feels like healing. Floating off the floor, past the ceiling. The wind in my hair, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel as I'm taking flight. Man, I'm feeling like myself again. Hey, man, I'm feeling like myself again. Angels fascinated, reporting back to the maker. I'm emancipated, blow a kiss out the neighbor. Saying bye to Felicia, saying hi to Miss Parker. I was in the darkness, didn't stop me shining though. I was at the bottom, but it didn't stop me climbing though. Talents, we ain't hiding those. Cook out, I'm providing flows. Homie, you invited, getting reunited. With the real you no longer gotta hide it. They love to see us fighting, love it when we are divided. Yo, we bout to make a man. Food on the table, big stacks in the bag. Drink in my hand, watch me do a little dance. Take a little chance, kick it with a queen. Chilling with my mans, going with the flow, mixing up the plans. Listening to jam, stresses out the window. Kick your feet up and relax. Ease your foot up off the gas, and if you're going through it, this too shall pass. Woo! Hey. Hey, I'm feeling like myself again. Man, I'm feeling like myself again. Yeah. It feel good, don't it? Woo. I love it. Hey, it's been a long time and I miss the feeling. It feels like freedom, it feels like healing. Floating off the floor, past the ceiling. The wind in my hair, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel as I'm taking flight. Man, I'm feeling like myself again. Man, I'm feeling like myself again. It's been a long time and I miss this feeling. It feels like freedom, it feels like healing. Floating off the floor, past the ceiling. The wind in my hair, I can see the light at the end of the tunnel as I'm taking flight. Man, I'm feeling like myself again.